everyone. The prestigious Dataquest ICT Awards have entered the 29th edition. And this time we have the winner of the Lifetime Achievement Award 2021 with us. Welcome to founder and former chairman of Mastek, along with founding member of NASSCOM, Ashank Desai. Welcome and congratulations on this sterling achievement.
Thanks.
So
it's always been a great pleasure to get this award.
Yeah, and it's also been a pleasure for us to have been associated with you. So thank you for that. So I was thinking that it's such a, you have had such a long and illustrious career. It's very difficult to, go through that in half an hour or 1 hour, but still we will try. And I thought I'll break it into segments so we can see, your entire career. So, at the beginning, can you talk in brief about your life and education leading up to Mastek? And what was Indian IT like during those days?
Okay, thanks. So the life kind of starts obviously where I was born, in a place in Goa, many years ago, obviously. Yes. But I had a difficult childhood because for one, my father passed away at the age of 2. And my mother, of course, was not so well educated and so on. But it got compounded because we were kind of freedom fighters for this Portuguese era of Goa that time. And my aunt, for example, was sentenced for 17 years of jail, and my uncle was imprisoned, and my mother, father also were supporting them. Freedom fighters used to come and stay with us in Goa. So Portuguese obviously didn't like all this. So once my father passed away, my mother decided to move to another place which is in Gujarat now, or is Union Territory, Dadra Nagar Haveli, which was also ex-Portuguese colony then. And that is because there were some other friends of hers who were there. So she felt comfortable and she got some small job. And I know the kind of schooling I went through. I say that my classmates were Adivasi students who were married also at the age of 15, and they were studying with me. So school has nothing to talk about till 7th or 8th. Very difficult life, very little financially. My mother used to work hard and make me give some best education if possible, but there were no institutions to give that. Fortunately, however, what happened was Goa got liberated in 1962, and that gave us opportunity to go back. But that was good part of it. But unfortunately, what happened was because of the kind of schooling I had in this Dadra Nagar Haveli, I could not get admission in best schools, even in higher secondary. So till SSC, the education continued with a very meager kind of possibilities. Fortunately, my mother was not lost any hope. She was working hard to bring me up. I started working hard, and I was fortunately then lucky to get a very high rank in engineering. I got a gold medals. Then went to IIT, went to IIM. So I have been lucky in spite of this difficult upbringing, with a very hard life, was 15 years. I was lucky to get into the India. It is there where the story of Mastek starts, at IIM Ahmedabad. So at IIM Ahmedabad, we were all kind of thinking to get job in Citibank and Hindustan Lever or Tata, those were the names. But I was thinking, no, this is not good enough. Let me do something of my own. And my other classmates, Ketan Mehta was there. he was interested in that. And then he brought another two friends from his hostel, but from my class only. So we became four people who were just thinking in the second year, not studying, but planning for IT industry. Now I'm talking of 1978, 79. IT industry or the software industry was non-existent. All the hardware was given by software was given by hardware companies, mind you. And it was given free many times. Now it is other way, but that time it was hardware, software being given free. As you know, IBM had lost one big case, antitrust case in 70s. It said that you should decouple software charges and hardware. They were combining. That was the beginning of separate software industry, historically. So what happened was software was to be quoted separately, even by hardware companies, so that others can compete. And that kind of made this movement possible. And India, that time software are called system houses, not software companies. So we were from IIM, Ahmedabad, so we had kind of best of the best education and best of the best alums and credibility. So we said, let us go and meet our alums. Some of them had started business, like rediffusion, ad, and so on. There were some others who had started CIOs, and we met them. They all said, good, please do it. And two professors at IIM, two or three professors rather, were very supportive. I always take their names. Mr. Kaur, Dr. Bhatnagar, and so on. They were very, very helpful. And said, yes, you guys should start something. So we said, let's go and meet government. I still remember going to Delhi and meeting IT secretary. And that time it was called it was called yeah, I think it was called DOE probably, or maybe something else. We go and go in second class train, didn't have money, come back. I still remember that journey from Delhi to Ahmedabad back, just for the sake of history. We were sitting in an unreserved compartment and jumping out for windows in stations. So I always tell my founder colleagues, do you remember that? Anyway, to cut the story short, as soon as we passed out, we planned for this IT software company, but we decided to stay together. Because as you know, once you pass out, you get jobs in different places and then that whole dream goes away. So I had fortunately a house and I was employed by Godrej, which is as a used to give house. I was actually worked in Godrej after IIT for 3 years and then did IIM. So I was kind of told to come back and they paid my fees kindly, Godrej. So I came back and we stayed together, and in the night time we should come back and discuss. So we said one of us at least should take IT industry job. So one of my colleagues, Sundar, joined HCL. HCL had just started then, or 4-5 years then. And he joined HCL. My other colleagues joined other companies, IBM, NOSIL. And we were planning to do something. And in 81, one of my colleagues was left. I had got married by then and I had to tell them to go somewhere else. So our office started in my founder colleague's office, house at Ghatkopar, if you know Mumbai. Mind you, at that time, phone used to take 18 years in Mumbai. 18. So we had no phone, obviously, and we hired some jeweler who was staying nearby whose phone. After 2-3 months, he said, "Ban karo, because your phones are more than ours." Yeah. He says, "Mera business nahi ho raha hai." Then we went to public phone. Those were the days, Sumit. Those were the days. Very difficult parts. So IT industry, of course, had to compete with hardware companies for software. Fortunately, what happened was we were with management background and we said our vision is using IT for making difference to management. Now, this may sound trite and very obvious now, after 40 years, but not then. Then it was data processing. If you know, people used to give data, do financial accounting, give results, ledger, payroll, that's it. We said So we kept our name Management and Software Technology. So the name is Management and Software Technology, which it was too long, and we made Mastek. So that has been the DNA. That has been a DNA of Mastek to build solutions for management. So we were late in exports because we were doing more work in India. We were not geared to that time focus. It was more about sending people on site and do the job. We were building solutions for our multinational IT companies. In 85, 86, we still that bug of solution was so high that we decided to build products. So now I stop here because you said we should start till Mastek what happened. So this is what happened till Mastek.
Yeah. So actually, it seems you had a historic life, a childhood, your that, and even I'd say like the foundation of Mastek was very historic because at that time you would not have realized the way you talked, you went by second. But today it is a big milestone in IT, and you are one of the pillars which has built. So it's nice to hear about the origin stories. So maybe now you can talk about Mastek to the present day, because again, I mean, that was the beginning. We have undergone so much, software services. You came out with an IPO, you did acquisitions. So it's not been a static industry. Neither has the industry been static, neither has Mastek been static. So maybe you stopped at 85 to the present day. You can talk about Mastek.
Yeah. So 85 was almost 3 years. And we said, that time HCL came out with PC. You see, PCs was started in 82. I still remember we participated in an exhibition of CSI and there was a PC in front of us in 84. And 85 prices dropped, 85, 86. So we said, let's build software products. So I strongly feel we are the first application product company in the country, honestly. In the sense, building product which can be installed on PC and reused. Now it's all obvious now, but then it was not. So we did build product for financial accounting, stockbrokers, advertising agencies. Each of these were products, and particularly the stockbroking and financial accounting continued for almost 8, 9, 10 years. And in fact, I met someone recently who said he's using our product. I said, boss, 30 years ago, he says, nahi chal raha hai. Abhi kya karne ka hai? You enter the data, you get output. Anyway, the point I'm making is that was a bit of a turning point in that sense, in the sense we got a publicity, and then 86 or 87, that important Dataquest encounter that I talked about happened. You see, Dataquest is to start ranking top 20 companies in the country. That continued for many years, and I depend on that for data for many, many years. I keep on asking PG, when is the issue coming? Where is the data? He says, "Arey thero yaar, big time hai." So there was a form which came to us to fill up. What is your revenue and all that. Our revenue was exactly 46 lakhs whole year. Now, we will be doing that every half an hour or less. But the point I'm making is, my colleague said, "Hey boss, why are you filling it out? Why are you wasting your time? We have no rank. We are far away. You just started 4 years ago, 5 years ago." I said, no, let's fill it up. So I filled it up and sent it. And lo and behold, when the issue came, we were top 6, I think, in the country, or 5 or 6, after TCS and Tata Burrows and the others were there. In the country, I said, oh my God, we have arrived. This is important, I'm telling you why. Because it raised our confidence. See, so Dataquest ranking per se is important, but that ranking created aspiration and inspiration in us that yes, we have arrived. We may be small, we may be just having 30, 40, 50 people, but we are top 5, 6 yet. Let's work hard. We can move up, So that is the role Dataquest has played. The point I'm making is, some of this would not have happened if Dataquest kind of magazine was not doing research and writing good stories on us. So Dataquest has played a great role to inspire IT industry, and that role nobody has played. Nobody. So 86, 87, that was happening. Then slowly our bug for product was still larger. We said we'll do export, not of services, only products. So we built an ERP, Sunil, ERP well before even launching of ERP by Oracle and SAP. You will be surprised to hear it. It was one of the MRP was there before that, not ERP. ERP is a larger version. So we read the original, my colleagues Sundar and so what happened, of course, just story take back. Four of us had come together. One of us left, we went to US. But one more person, Sudhakar Ram, joined us in 85 or so. So we became four again, and that four group continues even till today. 40 years have passed, but we are still together. Of course, unfortunately, we lost one of our founder colleagues, Sudhakar, just 1.5 years ago. It was very unfortunate, but we continue together. So coming back to 86, the Sudhakar Ram and Sundar were very keen to build an ERP. They read the latest, that time latest Oliver White had published a paper. He read it and built ERP, and we got a venture capital for that. And we were one of the first few companies to get venture capital. You must know that. Because the sweat equity was not there that time, the concept of sweat equity. Now everybody says, my sweat equity is 100 million or 200 million and this is run after that. Sweat equity concept was zero because liberalization happened in 91. It is after that the sweat equity kind of concept was accepted, you know. So we had to find out very complicated way of paying back as a percentage of sales. So VCs, because if VCs had given us that money, they would have been 90% shareholder. Because our sweat equity would have been close to zero that time because we were not making money, we were making more losses. So our families used to say, why you are running this business, yaar? Ban karo. I always tell entrepreneurs, first 6 years were very difficult. We were making losses. We thought of closing down. There were some people who came to acquire us, and we kind of got kind of enamored by it and almost joined them, but realized we will be treated as employees. So all that happened in these 6 years. But when ERP built with this venture capital, which was a big sum of 85 lakhs, by the way, you will be now nobody takes any seed capital also less than 1 million. But anyway, times are different. But the point I'm making is CDICI, which is the first venture capitalist in the country. They gave us money and 6-7 others. And on basis of that, we also went public in 91 post-liberalization. And we were the first IT company post-liberalization with free pricing to go public. You must know this first. There were public companies before that, but they were all at a different regime. After liberalization, we were the first one. And immediately soon followed by Infosys after 3-4 months. We were in December 92, which was Ayodhya time. Right in the middle of Ayodhya, we went public, by the way. So Ayodhya is a part of national news, but to Mastek, it is a story of lifetime. Why? Because that time used to write manually everything, the forms and all, not all this, all online subscription. People used to sit in Rajkot and write millions of applications and things like that. It was very funny. And Bandh was announced in Mumbai on the last day. And that time the whole issue was, if you do not close your issue on the day of closing, it is considered as failure. And if we don't close it, we will not get subscription because all banks were closed. So we were in typical dilemma, what to do. I still remember that night. What to do? Shall we close it, saying that we have finished, then we don't get subscription maybe? But we decided to continue, and it was hugely successful issue. I still remember all from IT industry friends called me and asked, Ashank, how was your issue? That raised the confidence that one can go public. That's the important. Important part is not the money that got. Our issue was some 5 crores or something like that. So 1 million, no, maybe 2 million by that time. So the point I'm making is we raise the aspiration that software companies can go public. Because brokerish task is what is the software? Kya hai? Dikhao product. I always tell my people that my mother never knew what business I was in because I never showed her a product and she was very suspicious. मेरा बेटा कर क्या रहा है? I am करके कुछ बता भी नहीं रहा है. So she was suspicious. Then we were talking at night time to US. So she said this guy is doing some shady work which has to be done night time. Whose products can't be shown. So such was software business. Anyway, the point I'm making is nobody knew what software was. Analysts were not there, but we raised that, Sunil. And then, of course, we still continued our journey of MAMIS, that is product separate and service separate. However, when we do these two things together, the effect on service part of our business was very high because we used to make money in service, put in products. Our passion to make products successful was so high that even though we were losing money in building products, because product cycle is long, service cycle is small. So we could not grow service business as fast as many others grew in 90s. And can you remember we didn't do Y2K? Why? Because we were solutions company. We said this is not our job. Now commercially it was a very bad judgment because that is the way people got into Fortune 500. But what we were doing that time in 2099, we were building internet e-commerce software in 2000. That time it was early days. So we have always been a little bit ahead of our time in terms of building products, building solutions, not taking jobs just for the sake of revenue. Now that had, of course, the impact in terms of some of the growth segment that we had. So in 2000, we also 2001 or two, we got another break in building our software solution for UK government for London congestion. Now that time the municipal commissioner or there wanted to CEO they call him there to change the charge people who are coming in London. And we were the only Indian company who was in the final round. We were invited and we were competing in final round with another British SI company. The company that we had built, Sunil, was so good at building solutions, even though we had not done any such product or solution, our guys built a complete prototype which was shown to the customer, that is Transport Department of London, and they said this is what will work. And they were taking a risk, mind you. They were not taking a British company, taking an unknown Indian company who has never done any such project. But they had a confidence by the way we came across. And that project was hugely successful, hugely. Everyone said it won't work in London. On the day of 19th March, when it was rolled out, I was in Singapore and I was calling my guys. It was evening there in Singapore. They said, Ashank, stop calling. Everything is working fine. All cars are going. At 200,000 cars come on a peak time. And all the cameras, you see, we were designed a system where you don't put even a tag on the car. So privacy was ensured. And we did a mobile payment in 2003, just in 1 month or 2 months time. We all knew that time. The point I'm making is our ability to build solutions was very, very high. And that kind of helped us to do. So that is one more ahead of time again we have done in terms of so building product, building solutions, going public, some of those, and building ERP. Now ERP business didn't go fast because we couldn't compete with SAP and Oracle. So in spite of our vision to build a product-based exports, we were not as successful. We have a large customers in India. We had almost, I think, 100, 200, because it was only Indian ERP product and better price. By that time, NASSCOM had started. So I'll connect NASSCOM, or NASSCOM will do separately maybe your question. But by that time NASSCOM had started and we had decided to do a zero duty on software because that was good for the country. Everyone said you are fools, other industries. You will kill your industry. We said no, we want flood in, flood out. But that had a negative effect on Mastek because MEMIS could not compete with SAP and Oracle because the price difference was now not that high. Now, for an industry, it worked well. So one is not complaining that decision, but the point I'm making is we went through the difficult time of closing or reducing MEMIS and focusing on solution business like London congestion. Then we got a big project which is doing electronic health records for the whole country of UK, Sunil. 60 million people. We got that project jointly along with BT. Why? Because people saw our London congestion. They said, this company looks good. We know how it works. So the guy who was there went to that NHS, and it was a project where at one time 400 people were working on single project, 450. So our ability to conceptualize, solution, build projects and deliver is very high. Even if you go to UK today, when you take the appointment of doctor, it is through the system that we have built. It was the largest healthcare database. So that journey continues, solutions. Okay. And in fact, the mayor of London, not commissioner, mayor came to him and he said, I was really taking a risk when I hired you, he said. You know, because he said, I would have lost the job if you had not delivered London congestion. And in fact, the present Prime Minister, by the way, was opposing that idea. And he fought with him on the platform next time. And even he got re-elected second time. Because the system was working, money was generated for the London city. Anyway, the point I'm making is some of the solutions business has been our forte. Parallelly though, our bug for the product was not going away. That solution business product. So sometime during 2000, we were doing a lot of insurance business in Singapore. So we decided to build a product around insurance now. Now that MEMIS story was over, we said, no, we'll work on insurance, which is more focused. No enterprise product from India has been successful that time. And even now, most of the products are successful not in the US. We, from 2000 to 2015 years, we built what is called as insurance product for life and non-life by investing $200 million in those 15 years. $200 million in terms of acquiring other companies. We get a product around our product, doing R&D, almost 5-10 million every year. So by 2015, Mastek has become half solutions, half product company. Now that was not working well because financially again service companies was not growing as fast, and money that we were making in service we were putting in product. And product company business is different, Sunil, in terms of people that you need. Your competitors were American companies. Nobody Indian was there in that space. And we were in US by then. We were top 3 in US by then, as per Gartner. You know, Guidewire was #1 company and we were #3. So we said, this is not working because our investors are not happy. They think we are not making as much money, but actually they are judging us as a service company. You know, analysts used to ask, Mara utilization, how much is that, which is okay for service. So we separated, and that was an inflection point to me. That released energy so much last 7 years that Mastek are 2 companies, Mastek and Majesco. And Majesco got listed in Nasdaq. That was again the turning point. I remember going and hitting the bell. It was the first pure play product company to be listed outside India. So first pure play product company. Infosys started the journey of service company. We did that after 10-12 years in 2015, 16. And that was again a satisfaction that we could build product. Everybody complains product can't be done by Indian companies. We can only do services. And even if they do product, it can't be made successful in US because it is extremely difficult. Because product means you are betting your company. Like insurance product, enterprise product, if I give it to insurance company and if they fail, their business will be down the tube. So product is difficult to sell. But we were top three. Our 80% of business was in US. Now, it was so successful that it went into SaaS and one of the first SaaS insurance companies. So we had to, everybody was running after us and we decided to sell it in that sense to a private equity firm called Tomo Bravo in 2020 December. That was again a milestone in the sense that all money that we got after selling, we returned to the shareholders. Whole money. So Mastek and Majesco became two separate companies. Both of them started growing at 25-30%. Mastek has grown 28% last 6 years, if you look at overall data, faster than any other in the industry overall. So it has been a very, very satisfying time last 6-7 years. Very satisfying to see that a product company we have built, a solutions company is doing extremely well now. We have acquired some new company in cloud area. Today, 90% of our solution business is digital. Why? Because we always these projects. Our solution was our forte, as I told you, starting 82. So that is all coming together and helping us to be what we are. So looking back, we just celebrated 40 years 10 days ago. Not 10 days, 2014, so 20 days ahead. So it was a great event to look back. So at one level, this award comes at the right time after spending 40 years of hard work in the industry. I always say we have lived a dream. We as in IT industry players, all of us have lived a dream from 50 million in 1988 when we started NASSCOM to 200 billion in, as you know the data better than me, but I'm just saying to quantify 4,000 times growth in a generation is a dream. It's a dream we live. So I look back to the life and say, okay, so the dream come true. So that's where we are. So we used to take whole employees in 90s and 2000 also. 5, 1, 2, 3, 5 up to 5, I think. Whole company on a tour. Overnight tour, we will hire a train, we sing, dance, go to a 5-star hotel and stay there. And 2 days of business and fun and then come back. It used to have so much impact. Now, of course, we do it on a smaller size. We can't take whole company with 5,000 people. But the point I'm making is it was a employee related part which people really appreciate. And that is another area that we have. See, ultimately your company looks like what you are. I told entrepreneurs, it has all the strengths of what you are and it has all the weaknesses that you have. You as a founders group, I'm saying. So we are good at employee handling, solution building, not so good in promoting and marketing part. So the branding has been not very strong, as you know. And that has been, of course, a challenge culturally. And but we looking back are proud of what we have done. We have built solutions, we have built company, we have, I think 35-40,000 people have passed through Mastek over last many years. And today, of course, as I said, last 6 years has been a very, very satisfying journey in terms of what we have achieved. So I'll stop here.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, that was your great early story and it's been great 40 years. So great milestones. And also, I mean, that itself is, complete in itself, but you are not only associated with Mastek, you are also a founding member of NASSCOM. So
Yes.
NASSCOM has really played a great role after its founding. So maybe you could talk a bit about, your association with NASSCOM and all the work that you did there.
Yeah. So it was those early 87 and late 87, early 88. There were a lot of work going on that multiple places that we should work together, and NATE was a association then, and they were not giving obviously importance to software because A, it was small, B, it was different, C, it was not on domestic market. So all of those created a discontinuity for us. And there were various groups meeting in various places, but a group came together in some form, and it's a long story, but by 88, it was very clear that we need to separate, or we should have a separate association. And Harish, as you know, Harish and Ramani and few others, Saurabh, all of us, Murthy, Nandan at early times. We were all decided that we need to have a big meeting. And that was that inflection point was a meeting in Delhi, in Ashoka Hotel, where 30 or 35 companies came together and made an intention clear that we want to have an association. That was the inflection point. And we invited NATE president that time, who was Mr. Mehra. He is a very charismatic leader. He was IBM, ex-IBM, then IBM. He came and fervently, obviously, opposed that idea and said, "You must remain with us, we'll help you." I still remember his talk and his interest, but I think we were clear this was not working. So we decided that we split, and that's the way NASSCOM was formed. So I'm glad that I was in that, and not more importantly, we continued that journey where we had elected council. First, of course, Prem Chudasani became first before election, first 2 years. But then after we formed the executive council, because we wrote constitution, I mean, we are all involved in that. Then Harish became chairman, then Murthy, then Mr. Kohli, and then me. So I was the fourth elected. That time we used to call president, not chairman. But then Devang became president and we became chairman. But those 45 years were very difficult periods. Again, remember 90s, government was not understanding software. Maybe that was the reason we grew fast, as Prime Minister said when he felicitated us. There was a big event in 2015 where four of us as founders, that is myself, Harish, Ramani and Saurabh, were felicitated, and Murthy and Premji were, and I think FC Kohli and others. So there are 5, 7, 7, 8 of us. They were felicited for industry size and growth and so on. So he said that everybody says that government didn't know anything, which was in a way true, but not all the time. They helped us. So NASSCOM very closely worked with government. This is very important, you must know as a history. We said we are going to be partner with government, and we had a very enlightened person, Mr. Vittal, who was a game changer and an entrepreneur. He's from Gujarat cadre, so very entrepreneurial. Came and said, "Tell me what you want. I'll give you everything." But he said, "I have went and committed $400 million to," that is another story again, to Manmohan Singh, Prime Minister. I said, "Sir, how will we committed? We are not even 100, we have some 100 million or something." So he says, no, that is your problem. You deliver, then I will give you everything." He was that way, great guy. So we, I think, delivered almost close to what it was by 94. But the point I'm saying is this, technology park that you see, the whole concept of technology park came from Software Technology Park, STPI. That concept came from government and industry working together. Then there was a World Bank report which said IT industry should come up much larger. Again, government paid money, we helped them. zero duty, game changer, as I told you earlier. Because Unix was there that time, IBM had gone out, nobody knew what to do, client server was coming, zero duty opened up everything. Then we had a lot of restrictions of credit card usage, foreign exchange, all of that got slowly released. That was one. Second thing NASSCOM did was, you see, we were selling country before selling ourselves. I used to go and say, oh, first time when I went to Singapore to present us, I couldn't go to US because it was very expensive for us that time. I didn't have any cousin brothers sitting there. So I went to Singapore first for exports. They said, oh, you make software, is it? They thought we had only elephants and snakes. So we first had to say, no, India is now liberalized, this, that, all those things. So NASSCOM took delegations with government at multiple places in 90s to me. All of us joined them at various points of time, talked to the customers, used to call Fortune 500 companies, used to call government there. So NASSCOM played that role of building IT industry's image, which has greatly helped us. So that journey continued in 90s of building. Then era came where everybody said, okay, you look good, you have good talent, but your quality is not good. So then ISO 9000 movement started. SCI ranking, 1 to 5. If you know, there is level 1, level 2, level 3, level 5. Mastek, in fact, there was another ranking called SCI People CMM. There was a software process and People CMM. Mastek became first private sector company to get that ranking worldwide. By the way, worldwide. It is People CMM, not the process CM. Process CM is separate. People CM is how you handle people. So before that, only 2 organizations in UK, US government had got that ranking. We were the third one, I think, and first in private. Because they announced publicly, this is you have been certified, and you know what? You are the first company. It was again a moment of, anyway. So NASSCOM created that catalyst role in building quality movement in the country and in IT industry. And we were 80% or 60% of all level 5 companies were from India. So NASSCOM has played a pivotal role in 90s to make India established with government, with other countries, and solving visa problem. You see, there was a whole issue of copyright, Sunil. Everybody said, oh, you don't have copyright. We took initiative. And at some point they said your copyright is as good or better than US. So this catalyst role, which is at the background, very difficult to quantify. Everybody can see what NASSCOM did. Sometimes my people only ask, why subscribe NASSCOM? I said, boss, you would have been half the size of our industry. Maybe you would not have any job without NASSCOM, I say. Industry would have grown, but we could do concerted effort to make it grow. Obviously, every industry played part. All of us individually worked hard. We were lucky to get those large companies who did a great job, like Infosys, and so on. But the point I'm making is, industry helped, NASSCOM helped them to grow all of us faster than what we were. That is for sure. That I can say confidently. And that was the hard work of some of us earlier, and then the whole gang joined. We made chairmanship every 1 year so that more people come and join. We had a great person in Dewan who we hired in 91. You know the story of Dewan. He changed the whole idea of what NASSCOM can be. He put NASSCOM at another level in terms of positioning, government. So fortunately lost him in 91. Unfortunately, 2001, sorry. At a very young age. He used to work hard. I worked with him very closely in those early days. We used to go abroad together and even stay together and discuss. I parallelly went and made India member of Associate, Asia Oceanic IT Industry. You see, everyone in 90s or late 80s, we needed a recognition that we are going association and growing country. So we decided that I should go to Australia to become member. I still remember in 91, Harish was president that time. Harish says, you go. I said, you have to pay your fees. Huh? I'm not going to pay you anything. I said, okay. In fact, he talks about in his book also, this journey of mine to Australia, presenting NASSCOM. And they said, who is NASSCOM? There was some other small association went and became their member, by the way. So we had to say, no, no, don't. They are not the one. We are the one. And I associated with Associate almost for 20 years after that, with a break 2-3 years, and became president. But in the NASSCOM success in Asia Pacific, 20 countries, Australia to Japan, Philippines, in fact, from Pakistan to Philippines, all of it, 20 countries, Korea, Singapore, Malaysia, all. That came from Associate. So I feel personally good that I could do that work to put India on the Asia Pacific NASSCOM in Asia Pacific map. I became chairman of Socio in 2009, 2007 till 9. 3 years I was chairman. And that was again another journey and many others. It's great work. Chairman after chairman came. We had people from Infosys, we had people from TCS, we had people from all of us, we had people from other upcoming leaders. So what we have done is we have built a leadership. We identify the upcoming leaders in the industry and request them to come to NASSCOM. So for that, we created a past chairman's council. This is again another innovation, that chairmen continue together as a group and the camaraderie, trust is there. Today, Sunil, NASSCOM succeeds because although we compete in marketplace, we work together as one. And everyone envies that. All other associations ask us, present your story, how? I have talked to many associations, how to build association. So again, a fulfilling dream that we could build an association which was envied globally. It's really, again, a dream as I lived, as I told you. And today, of course, it has become large. After that, Kiran Karnik came. After that, Chandrasekhar came. Sommittal came, sorry. Then Chandrasekhar came. So we had a very illustrious leaders. And now they've done also great job. So all of them have built it at an operational level. Chairman's, like any other thing, has advisory guiding role. So I'm still on Chairman's Council and spend a lot of time as and when required. I'm presently doing mentoring the upcoming people. You see, most of the people complain that NASSCOM has so much leadership. Please help us, small companies. They want to earn from us how we have done. We are doing it, some of us. Harish, me, so it's another journey.
So anyway, thank you for that. I was thinking that, Mastek is a full-time job. NASSCOM also takes so much time, and both these have molded the Indian IT industry. Despite that, you have found time to do, social work, NGA, and you talked about molding, young people. So you have your centers at IIM Ahmedabad and IIT Bombay. So maybe now you can speak about that aspect of your life.
Okay, thank you. So you see, there are two things which one learned are very, very important in my journey of 30 years, 35 years. One is, given the industry that we are in, given the industry that is there, we would not have succeeded without advising government on policies. And government plays anyway going to play major role now in IT industry because now it affects every public. So it was always in my mind that some way we need to build a think tank to advise government on policy making. And that catapulted into a big event of IIT Bombay we had in Goa, where many ministers came from the existing government. And they also said, you must build IIT, if they build, it will have credibility because they understand technology well, they are and they are impartial. So I said, okay, if that is the case, let me see if I can participate because I was convinced policy making has to be scientific process advised by the best in the people. And government today is struggling with AI. You know it. You have written about it, I'm sure. AI, cyber security, large technology player influencing the decisions, and most of them. Of course, that is only one part, Sunil. There is also issue of environment. There is also issue of water. So this center which we have in IIT Bombay will advise policy making through roundtables, discussions, white papers, and will build MTechs and PhDs who can join government and think tanks. So that is one part. The second part I felt very strongly was about leadership. I think we were blessed to have a best of the leaderships in the country. To me, IT industry would not have grown without this first generation entrepreneurs that we all saw. You know all the good names. You know, we have this ecosystem like us, 5, 6 people coming together and did wonders and wonders, we all know. Others also came after that as a team building. So what was in my mind was building leadership in the country is extremely important. It is always important, but it is more important in technology industries, in government, in NGOs. So I am being my Ahmedabad being my alma mater, I decided to concentrate on building leadership in the country, particularly in these areas, women. So increase the bandwidth of leadership in the country in multiple facets so that tomorrow's leader can run India. And we will do research in leadership, which is already happening. We are doing a lot of public discussions on it, and we are also doing projects in leadership. So it is going to be, my hope is it will be number one in leadership in the country and the region. That is my vision. So I am happy that I got an opportunity to work with it. Beyond that, I do a lot of work in, of course, skill building and leadership of girls, etc. Social area also I work. I've been lucky to found beyond Mastek, NASSCOM, another 3, 4 social ventures founding NGOs. So it has been journey of foundation of multiple organizations. So when I look back, it looks good. Happy moments.
So anyway, thank you for taking this great journey. Now, final question is slightly tough. You have talked so much about your life. So where do you look at your legacy? You know, your legacy, the NASSCOM legacy, the Mastek legacy. What are your plans for the future? And finally, where do you think India is heading? Indian IT is heading in the right track and all that. So it's, if you could do that.
That's a very pointed and very inspirational question at one level with a difficult answer in 2 words or
Because
saying.
I'm sure even though you have got Lifetime Achievement Award, you have a long life and you're going to do a lot of things. So that is why I look forward to all that.
Thanks. So uh, here is my view or cut on that. First, I feel we in India, although have established us as a powerhouse of building software, and now also slowly moving towards applying software to the social issues, which we are doing well. Uh, we are building India Stack, we had Aadhaar, and people like Nandan and all did a great job. We are still not considered as building technologies which are to be globally used as number one in that. So my view is we have achieved a lot. We have achieved first in IT industry as achievement. We can call ourselves largest powerhouse of building software. We have built now slowly usage also in a big way. But what is missing is R&D research, building new products, something that globally makes impact. So India should be number one in even that, and thus established to be number one in IT in all the aspects of software services and application of technology to make difference in the world. So I think that part has to be worked with academia, industry, and government together. So how to make that happen? That we become leaders, and our name comes first when, let's say, a magazine like Economist or Foreign Affairs or Fortune writes about technology. Is my vision of what we should be at. We will definitely do IT industry services very well. We will definitely build more products. I'm not doubting that. I'm glad we were one of those first early ones in product, but I think more will happen, more are happening. But somewhere we are not building tomorrow's technologies in-house through a collaborative efforts of government, academia, and industry. So that piece is missing. My vision is that we should be seen as an example to do it and thus become number one in anything in IT. So that future is driven by Indian IT. India, sorry, not Indian IT, India. Beyond anything else, and we become examples of everything. Not that we are not now, but we have a long journey to go ahead, particularly in the areas of cutting edge research.
So,
And it can't be done alone by academia, it can't be done alone by government. It has to be a joint effort. So we need a different institutions, different processes, and so on.
yeah. So anyway, I'd like to thank, it was a very fascinating discussion, fascinating, and it was really long. I felt as if, you have gone through your life with me. Like there used to be a show, This Is Your Life. So I felt that. So it's been quite fascinating. And as I said, what you have done in the last 40 years, I feel this is just your halfway mark. And I think you are going to do much more greater things for India. And like India and Indian IT would like to thank you for that. And finally, once again, congratulations on getting this prestigious award. It's been an honor for us to present it to you.
Thanks. We are lucky to have all these people like you and many others to be part of our journey. You see, the media has played a great role, as I said again, Dataquest as a magazine, many of you as in the participants wrote about us, told us when we were not doing well, what to do, everything.
Right.
Criticism is required, no?
Yeah,
Criticism, criticize us, put us on chart,
right.
compare us with global best. All of that you have done. And your job, again, is difficult to quantify as NASSCOM. But you have played an important role. And we would not have been what we are without that catalytic role that people have. Thanks to all of you. I feel overwhelmed by this media thing. I still remember attending annual events of Dataquest. We used to do IDC annual events and all that.
Right.
Now, last week I have not been able to do that. But I still look forward to those things that all of you have built. DG and all of you. Thanks for that.
Okay. Thank you.